The following program is brought to you by Naleo TV, the people's platform.
Welcome to the Tech Sun Podcast. I am Chris Pereno with Naleo TV. Today we're in a very unique situation where we're at the Hilo High School Vikings Robotics Room. Our honored guests today are the Hilo High Robotics team. So today we have Andrew, Keone, and Chaucer. Welcome to the podcast. This podcast is about STEM-related stuff, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And I really wanted to get these guys' perspective on their travels in robotic. They're newly up and coming as their freshman and sophomore. Let's just get into it. So if you guys could briefly introduce you guys selves and your guys' grades, we'll start with you over there, Andrew.
Yeah. Okay. So my name is Andrew. Like you said, I'm a freshman, but I'm also the president of the club. That's mostly because I managed to make it to the World Championship last year with the middle school team. Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, I've been doing robotics for a really long time, and it's one of my big hobbies.
All right. My name's Keone. I'm a sophomore. I've also been doing robotics for a fair amount of time. Not necessarily like Vex robotics, but just robotics in general. And I'm not in like club administration at all, like Andrew, but I definitely help out. I definitely help out a bit in competitions.
My name is Chaucer. I'm a sophomore. I've been doing robotics since my freshman year, and I originally joined as part of the JRTC robotics team.
This is a very unique team where you both are in JROTC and you are not. I know that Hilo High started as two teams. I don't know if you can tell a little bit about the history about that and how you guys ended up merging.
I can't really speak much for the robotics team last year, the school's robotics team, but from what I've heard from some of our other members, some of our senior members, it was pretty good. And then on the JRTC side, we were just getting our team started, and we had some commitment, but we weren't too familiar with the Vex stuff yet. We built our robots, but we weren't able to really go out and compete yet. But it kind of solved itself because when we merged our teams together this year, that solved the personnel issue. So we had enough people to commit to a lot of the tournaments now. And and then us JRTC kids, we got more experience with robotics too. So we definitely know what we're doing now.
So RTC, it's part of you guys' curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the personnel is a big part of it. So this year we only had I think it was 3 or 4 of us who signed up.
Yeah, they were really committed.
Yeah.
And then right now, it's the end of the year, but how large is the team currently?
Yeah, it's
Probably about 6 or 7.
yeah.
Yeah.
A little bigger. I think we're
Still
Everything
pretty
go-
small team
yeah.
though.
Everything always goes good for next year though, because you might get some more members. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Next year is gonna be a lot better because a bunch of the middle schoolers, right now the 8th graders, I know are very committed and they're gonna move up and join the team. Yeah.
And then you guys briefly discussed on like what, what's your guys' background in working with the robotics as far as like programs, and because let's start with you, Keone. You said you did it as a hobby. Like, did you have like a robotics kit when you were younger, or you were like thrown into first or something like that?
Yeah, I did kind of do first. So I used to live in Alaska, and I was in 4th grade. I was in 4th grade when we started off. We did a team with our public school over there. It's like Lego robotics actually. So kind of similar to Vex, but still different because it was all like you had to fully code it yourself. In Vex, you can control it with the remotes, but we could not control it. We had to code everything. So got like decent experience with coding, and I really helped out with the designing and stuff like that. It was really interesting.
You want to talk about the design aspect, because I those outside the robotics world, I'd love for for them to know, like, what does that mean? Like the design, like you guys are drawing, or is it part of the engineering process?
What do you want to talk?
Well, we don't really draw things out before we build them. We kind of take a look at the challenge and then we just start building and see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah,
Pretty much. We have like a general idea of where we're going and then we just fix the problems along the way.
yeah, very very trial error
Yeah.
stuff like that. We do have an engineering notebook, so we do have to document some of the process of like our trial and error, and we do like draw out some of it, not too much, like just different pieces, because we have to have the engineering notebook in order to compete
That's
in
part
the
of the process.
competitions. Yeah.
Um, so I know that you guys traveled and competed in a bunch of different competitions. If you could, Chaucer, if you could just say a few of those competitions that you guys just did this year.
Well, just recently we attended the JTC Vex Worlds Championship. It was hosted in Dallas, Texas. It was a great experience because we got to meet like a lot of our teams, especially teams from like also in our state, like Hawaii. Um, that was the only competition I've been to or event actually as part of robotics. But I know Keone and Andrew here have gone to states and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get to go to the JRTC Worlds because I'm not in JRTC and they wouldn't have let me drive and do my part.
Fortunately.
So, but I mean, everybody went to the states except Chaucer. Did you go to states?
No.
Oh,
Nah,
okay.
not yet.
But yeah, states was. I don't know how it compares to the world's one, but Keone does. So
Oh boy.
come on.
Okay, so I feel like Worlds it was just so much bigger. States was there's a lot of teams over there, but
I guess let's take a step back. So, the real question is, what is the overall or overlying robotics program? I guess this was Vex, right?
Yeah.
And if you could go into a little bit what that Vex,
Ah.
it like, you guys use metal parts versus plastic. Yeah, just go into that part
yeah,
first.
I think you got
Yeah.
this one.
So there's pretty much there's more different types, but there's like pretty much 3 different like categories of Vex. You have the little plastic ones that the middle school and elementary schoolers use that are they have pretty weak motors and they're pretty slow. Then you have the aluminum and metal ones that we use. The Vex, that's like the original Vex, just Vex. That the difference between just the Vex and then the first is the first they have to completely fabricate it themselves. So they don't sell pre-made parts like how they do for the Vex and the IQ.
And currently, that's not where Hilo is. We don't have any, right?
Yeah, we don't have the first. We only have the Vex.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So that being said, you guys competed in a bunch of. So states was in Oahu. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what is the competition this year?
The competition for this upcoming one.
I
The
guess.
upcoming
Or I
year,
guess what
the
was
one
the
that
no this this past year? Like, what did you guys?
Oh, okay.
I guess what are the obstacles that just in general? What did you guys have to do?
Well, it's a little bit difficult to explain, but pretty much you took the little acorn-shaped things, these things, right here, and you can only pick up one at a time, and you have to score them across into the enemy's half of the field, and it's worth 1 point if you just get it in their field, right, and then 2 points if you can get it in their goal, and that's pretty much the gist of it.
What is you guys' design philosophy for shooting, or you like carried it into the?
Yeah, ours is very focused on shooting them. We used a flywheel, which is just a wheel that spins really, really fast, and then we just put the triballs on top of it and it would fling it across to the other side of the field.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
We had to change the design a couple times in the first few qualifying tournaments. We had like a ballista. We'd launch it. It was really fun to load it on there, but it was not the fastest. So that's why we switched to the flywheel because we can just rapid fire them. Wasn't
Yeah.
like very accurate, but that's mainly like the people who load it up's fault. That was mainly on us because it's hard to place it consistently in the same spot.
What was the idea from watching the other teams, or you guys just
I think
in house?
the flywheel was pretty much our idea, right?
Yeah. And we could see a lot of the stuff from what worked from other teams, because you get to see so many different ideas and trial and errors from the other teams just being at the competitions too. See what works, and if they have a good idea, you can adapt it to your robot too.
So in states, who I guess who was the who went? I guess everybody from Big Island was there. All the high schools at least.
No, only a few qualify. So, it was us and Waikea Inter actually has a Vex team with the Metal Robots. But they were our partners and they qualified with us, but they didn't go for, I'm not sure what the reason was, but they didn't go. So from this island, I think it was us, the Mechaneers, which is a private team from Waikea. It was, did Kamehameha go? I don't think, no,
I'm not sure if they went.
I don't think they went. It might have just been us and the Mechaneers from
Yeah,
this island.
I think it was just us and the Mechaneers.
I like that you said the aspect about working with the
Oh, yeah.
intermediate team. Can you go into why that's the case, and is that part of the
Yeah, it's part
Vikings?
of the game. So pretty much in the game, you have the two robots on your team, and you're going against two robots on the enemy team. So it's in pairs, and the pairs are randomly generated for each match, except the finals. The finals, you get to choose who you will go with, and one of my good friends is on the Waikea intermediate team, so we decided to go with them. Plus, the robot was pretty good. Yeah.
So let's go back to the world's competition. You went to that one. Both of you guys went to worlds, right? And is it only ROTC based? That's what you guys mentioned, JROTC based.
They had like 4 different competitions there, so we didn't qualify technically for high school, but because our team is JRTC affiliated, we could compete in that because that was a separate division. And the other ones, there's a middle school one too. So the middle school has their own championship, and then there is a Vex University one too. That's is very interesting. And then what's I think that's it. I think it's just Vex U, high school, middle school, and JRTC. Yeah.
Any teams up there that just fully stood out and then gave you guys ideas for next year?
Yeah, there were a lot. A lot of the middle school competitions were so fun to watch. Those guys are crazy, and a lot of them are from different countries because the high school and middle school competitions, they're international, so their schools from everywhere.
Any
All
teams you guys
across the
bonded
world.
with? I mean, I know Hawaii. We're very unique. We're a melting pot. So I don't know if any teams were just you guys got to make friends and.
Definitely St. Louis. Is that in Honolulu?
Yeah, St. Louis.
Yeah.
Oh, they won the whole competition.
They were probably the best team there.
Oh,
from
by far.
Hawaii, or they won it, right?
Yeah, they won the JRTC national championship. Yeah.
Yeah, me and my instructor were just talking with them and hanging out with them. Good guys.
Those guys were great. We got to be partners with them in one of the matches. Very great robotics program.
That being said, like I guess it depends on you guys pairs, right? As you guys go on,
Yeah,
because this is not a you guys are helping each other to score points. It's very similar to the IQ competition, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're helping.
Well, we're helping each other, but then we're also going against each other because there's two on our team. There's 2 teams, yeah. So there's 2 on our team and 2 on the enemy team. So it's not just being paired up to help each other. It's also the enemy team.
Yeah, a lot of it
Yeah.
strategizing too. Yeah, come up with a plan with your teammate.
Yeah. And that's different from the IQ. The IQ is just teamwork together. There's nobody going against you.
How is the I guess how is the time frame for builds?
It's I'm pretty sure. Well, it starts when they release the game,
Yeah.
right? And then they release the game at the Worlds of like at the World Championship. That's when they release the game for the next year.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you guys have
So
a full year. then.
it's pretty much a full year cycle. Just like if you make it to Worlds, it's a full year cycle. But if you make it to just states and you don't move it, then you have the gap between states and Worlds. And then that's like
So that being said, it's the end of the school year already for you guys. Are you guys gonna be doing? Are you guys gonna be building any or having some type of training during the summer? Thinking of this coming year's competition.
I think we were planning to have a couple a couple of full day work sessions during the summer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
full day work sessions because we're already trying to get started on our robot for next year. There's one thing that we could have taken back is we should have practiced a fair amount more before Worlds because our robot did have a little bit of technical issues first 2 rounds. We don't want to have that happen again. So if we ever make it to Worlds again, we want to make sure everything's straight away, ironed out, and good to go.
Let's talk about the club a little bit more. I know that you, it's not just robotics that you guys are dealing with. You guys are also helping out with. I know we talked a little bit about Hilo Inter, but you guys also put on camps and other outreach programs. If you guys want to talk about some of that outreach that you guys do.
So we have this summer camp called Camp Eureka. It's basically we have like kids from the age of like 7 to about 14
12.
or 12 or 13 around there. And they come and we basically give them an experience of how robotics is. They get to build robots and get to work in like a robotics environment basically.
Why do you think that's important to have those to start that early? I guess.
Well, it helps build interest for robotics and maybe in the future to consider a career maybe like in robotics. May that be like in the defense sector or some sort of technological career.
But I have a few memes here, and if one of you guys could talk about it and then just kind of react to it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's one thing to like get your design out and it should look like it's gonna work, but just because something looks like it's gonna work does not mean it's gonna work at all.
Learn that the hard way.
Yeah.
This is big on Keone here.
Oh,
You know, he's very committed to this. He tends to try and convince us to stay longer for practices, to establish like longer practices. He really overlaps robotics with his personal life.
Basically, the meme was saying trying to choose between a social life and robotics.
no comment. Robotics at districts, it kind of a lot easier, a lot less competition, or not necessarily a lot less competition, but just like a lot like everyone's like really happy to be there. You're just kind of
Yeah.
there, and you do-
especially when it's like our local districts, everybody's like super nice as the big island spirit. But when you get to Worlds,
It's a bit different. You're in an unfamiliar place. There's a lot of moving pieces, very loud. It can be stressful sometimes. You know, sometimes we're all like mad at each other because something isn't working as it should be. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's you're happy to be there.
Yeah. Oh, that's Harry. That's Harry.
Who's Harry? Who is Harry?
Harry is
That picture
he's
is
like
up
the
there.
heart of the team, really, because he's been doing robotics the longest, and he has experience in like every aspect of it. And right now, because we didn't have our main coder had quit the team, so he had to take over that responsibility. And oh my goodness, the coding is not easy, and there's always bugs, and you
Back at
always have to
Worlds,
find it.
we had trouble with our code. I think the automation it wasn't working as it should be, and Harry was just sitting there on Keone's laptop trying to get the code working right.
Oh God.
And
yeah.
eventually he did, but it did take some like trial and error. We had to actually go up to admin and ask them for help. They couldn't help us, and somehow we fixed it. I'm not sure how.
Hey, mad props to him.
Mm-hmm. Harry's the guy.
pure willpower.
Yep.
We wouldn't have made it.
Oh. Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Really?
I wish we had a blowtorch to do that.
We had a lighter. No, we had a lighter.
Oh well,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
Downgraded
It kind of
blowtorch.
worked, but a blowtorch would have been a lot better in that case.
What happened?
Yeah.
Like sometimes, like when we're building the robot, like the screws and some residue gets stuck in it. You can't unscrew it. You have to really finagle with it. It's just pain. If we had a blowtorch, that'd make it so much easier.
That would break the robot. Oh.
That is me. That's me.
And you want to elaborate on that, Andrew?
So whenever it's difficult for me to put a screw in, I just give up and I tie it with like 15 zip ties. I mean, it'll hold, right?
Well, at Worlds we had this giant bag of zip ties. There's at least 1,000 in there, and
You can't waste
No,
them.
no, I.
You can't
he
waste them.
wasted. He wasted zip ties. This guy, you have no room to talk, Chaucer.
You can't
Can't
just no, but you
the
can't just
robot
let
needs
the
the
zip ties go to waste. You got to use them.
Yeah, we should just make a whole robot with zip ties.
What's the point of having an entire bag of zip ties if you're not gonna use them?
Oh wait, what are you lobbying to waste zip ties now? That you're trying to save them.
So okay, so for clarification, on the builds, zip ties are allowed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Duct tape.
Yeah.
I don't know about duct tape.
don't think.
I think it might be allowed, but I don't think anybody uses it.
Any amount of screws, or is it has to be? Vex?
Has to be the Vex screws.
Vex screws. We just mainly use a lot of the zip ties. It's a pain in the butt. It's with the wiring. It's wiring. Make it.
I don't
make
just use it for wiring.
Kids-
No, if you looked at the older version of our robot, the arms on the side were held on by zip ties.
No. Oh no.
kids
Talk
are gross.
about that robot.
That was my engineering right there.
Yeah. The day after the competition. be like-
Yeah, that's Chaucer
Yeah.
sleeping in the picture there.
Yeah, Chaucer sleeping at
Caden, too.
Worlds. Yeah. Both those guys, they got their extra sleep in.
Yeah,
That goes for any competition though, right? Because is it
Oh,
because like
yeah,
it's like matches all day or multiple days?
yeah,
Yeah,
you're pretty much
yeah,
on your feet
yeah.
all day.
I passed out too after Worlds. Not during Worlds though. Not during Worlds.
No,
Wait.
it gets kind of tiring when my team leader is a very energetic person. Like you gotta deal with the robotics and stuff and his antics. You need some resting.
Now, did you guys start in? Oh, you guys started in, not necessarily elementary, or you did,
Yeah.
and you did as well. Did you start also as elementary?
No, I started in my freshman year of high
Freshman
school.
year. Oh, okay. So were you involved in the Eureka back in the day too? Or?
Yeah, that's where I started. I was like one of the kids at the Camp Eureka's. Like, I think how long ago was that? It was like 7 years ago already.
And you've been doing robotics ever since
Yeah.
that time. Now, I know you guys are freshman and sophomore. You guys thought about how robotics have changed you guys' perspective on science or STEM-related fields for the future?
For me, I've always liked STEM, and especially engineering. And robotics was kind of the only way where I could actually do some, like, hands-on engineering where I could actually go and, like, build it and use it, There's not really very many other options out there for that.
Yeah, I agree too. I've always loved engineering, and I just really liked robotics in particular because it combines everything from a lot of the different aspects of like programming, designing, like actually building the like item itself. It's very fun.
To be honest, robotics hasn't really impacted my career considerations, but I think if I continue to do this, I might consider a career in like defense contractors, maybe like Lockheed Martin or Northrop.
For if you guys had a career path, where would you guys want to go?
Me personally, I would go college, and then I want to get a job in aerospace engineering. That's what I like, especially planes. Not as much. The rockets are cool too, but I enjoy the planes more.
I was looking at my dad was in the Coast Guard. I didn't really want to work in the military, but I do love engineering. I was looking at like maybe maritime engineering, but because of robotics and really like one really impactful speaker at Worlds, I've been looking at maybe like NASA robotics engineering too. That seems really interesting as well.
Well, I'm basically the opposite of Keone. I've decided I wanted to join the military ever since I was young. Joining JRTC was a big step in that, and I've been speaking with my instructors, getting some advice. I've been considering a career in Army aviation. And yeah.
Again, it's all related. You know what I mean? Like STEM is more than just the typical lab work. Like I said, it's science, technology, especially in aviation. That's my formal training in aerospace engineering, actually. So I know just having the background and that being able to be flexible in engineering allows you to be flexible in anywhere else in the work field. It's just the way you think can apply to a lot of stuff. So I think you guys are doing an amazing job. How do you guys get all the funding? Because Vex isn't cheap, right? So how are you guys like parts? How do you guys get parts? Is it fundraising or you guys have sponsors that you guys work with?
We have a few sponsors, but the majority of our money comes from the Camp Eureka's that we throw. So it's not purely outreach; it's also a fundraiser for us. But yeah,
You want to talk about some of the sponsors that helped you guys this year?
I think we have to talk about the big one.
Yeah, doesn't the army sponsor us?
8th Brigade specifically.
Only for our
they
JRTC team, though, right?
they financed like almost everything for Worlds. Very very useful. Because I don't think we would have been able to go out there without that.
Mr. Martinez.
Shout out to Mr. Martinez.
That being said, any shout outs to anybody, teammates, sponsors?
oh, definitely
Mentors.
Harry.
Yeah.
He's probably the biggest part of our team. He's very committed and he does a lot of work. Yeah, big shout out to him. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it today though.
And what year is he?
He's a
So-
senior.
he's
He's
a
our
Oh,
senior.
okay, so he's
Graduating.
graduating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Shout out Koa and Miss D.
Oh,
Definitely.
Yeah, Cole.
Our
Wow.
coaches.
Wow. I cannot believe us. Wow. Yeah, definitely our coaches.
Yeah.
Yep.
Coaches
Shout
are
out to
biggest
Major
shout out.
Nation, Sergeant Amra, my mom, and my dad. Thank you for helping me get here, believing in me. I know you guys couldn't let your son go for about a week. It's kind of hard for you guys, but thank you for letting me go. Extra special shout out to Major Nation, driving us, taking us to Golden Corral and whatnot. Mr. Martinez for paying.
Yeah, and the biggest shout out to Misty and Koa. Misty definitely gets us in shape. Without her, I don't think we get much. She definitely makes us do a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Very strict.
It
In a
we
good way,
needed
though.
it. We needed
In a
it,
good way.
though. And then Koa, really helping out with the robot and stuff.
Yeah.
Koa actually helps out with the Waikea team too. So he went to Florida with them.
He's an additional advisor.
Yeah, he was an advisor for the Waikea first team.
Oh, awesome.
He does everything, man.
Thank you, Hilo High School, for allowing me for Naleo to be here to interview these guys. These are awesome. These are our future. Mad props to you guys for, taking this on and then continuing with this and in such an early age. Looking forward to what you guys have in the future. So again, mahalo. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Tech Some podcast. And mahalo, guys.
Yeah.